Rick Santelli in Chicago, thanks so much. Okay, we want to talk more about stocks, and we want to talk about the economy and where it is heading. On call for the entire hour, we have Diane Swank, Chief Economist at Mesirow Financial, also joining us. Barry James, President of James Advantage Funds, and Paul Schatz, President of Heritage Capital. Welcome to all of you. Barry, I'll start with you. You know, overseas had been looking as a real source of strength for so long. The one thing that might have gotten us through any kind of downturn in the U.S. Not the case anymore, as we have seen clearly with all the earnings reports out in the last couple of days. What is an investor to do right now? Where can you go to hide?
Well, the best place to hide are in U.S. Treasuries, although I would say that we're looking at maybe an inflection point in the stock market. As we look at you know, the significance of this particular decline, we find a great deal of fear. One of the things you'll find is there are maybe 20–22% bulls, about twice as many bears. The volatility index hit a record level. We also find that a number of stocks are very, very cheap today. More than a quarter of them are trading below book value. More than a quarter are trading less than 10 times price relative to earnings.
With that in mind, Barry, does this sound like a bottom to you?
I wouldn't say this is a permanent bottom. This particular recession is going to be longer and deeper than usual because consumers have so much debt and they have to work through that. But nonetheless, in every bear market, you have these steps down, if you will, but there's a bounce, like a ball going down a stair, and each bounce is a little bit better than the one before. So we think this particular rally could be significantly stronger and longer than the last couple we've had since last October.
Paul, so many traders have told us over and over again that they were looking for total capitulation, basically a sign that everybody had gotten out of this market. There had been some hoping that maybe we would in fact see that today with the futures market being down so significantly earlier in the morning. Do you think we're going to get that bottom? Do we need to see that kind of capitulation before we've clearly marked a bottom?
Well, first of all, I think the number one mistake everyone's making is thinking that somehow what's happening right now is rational, normal behavior. It's not. This is the 100-year storm. Therefore, a lot of the models we've used for the last 20 years are not working in this market. Number two, why does there have to be a single bottom? People should stop worrying about the absolute low of lows and think about it as a process. The market is groping, is probing, is pushing for a low. We've seen a steady round of capitulation for over a month now.
Oh, so you think we're about there?
People looking for that one are going to be disappointed.
Are we about there, Paul? Are we near, in the vicinity?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the October 10th day was very significant. Now, depending on which data service you use, I believe that's when momentum saw its low, October 10th. That's when more stocks made new lows than any time we'll see for a while. So we have your momentum lows October 10. We're going to continue to test that low. Price may go lower in the short term. Okay. But yeah, that's the day I'm looking at as the momentum low for the market.
So much of this, of course, is dependent on the economy. The stock market's trying to anticipate what the economy is going to be like 6 to 9 months out. I want to go to Diane Swank. Diane, for your thoughts on the economy, where we're going to be in 6 to 9 months, and also your thoughts on oil, perhaps acting like a tax cut for folks, putting a little bit more money in their pockets as they head into the holiday season. Is it going to be enough?
Well, it's not enough to stop the declines, but it's enough to mute the losses. And I think there's a subtle but important difference there. The economy is going to get worse before it gets better. The bad news is it's going to get worse. The decline in energy prices will mute that, keep food on the table, keep a little discretionary spending up during the holiday season, but not put many more Christmas presents under the tree. That said, the second part of that is it will get better. We are now planting the seeds of a more fundamental, more broad-based recovery, but we're only in our infancy in that. I think it really is more of 9 months out before we really start to feel it. That said, we know the market tends to turn ahead of time. I think the hard part through the holiday season is we're talking about all these issues. I agree 100%, you know, worrying about capitulation, are we at the bottom or not? It's very hard to hit a bottom when we have so much uncertainty on guidance. What will really get us there is when we start to see the economy stop deteriorating so rapidly as we get into 2009.
Well, Barry, we did get a little bit of good news today, as Bob Pisani was pointing out earlier. We're going to talk some more about home sales coming up later in the show, but that was a little bit of strength, a little bit of a turnaround.
It is, and I think the market, if we watch it, it will tell us. One of the things that we're noticing is the trading patterns late in the day. You tend to see the market rebounding a bit near the end of the day, and I think that's significant. That's one of the indicators that we follow. Today we have 22 of our indicators positive on the intermediate basis versus only 4 negative. So you've got sentiment certainly swung over to one side. We certainly have the money flow. The Fed has about a 44% increase in the money base. So you've got a lot of things that are very stimulative, and I think that we're nearing this level where we'll have a very significant rally in the market. I don't think it's the permanent rally, you know, the start of the new bull market,
but perhaps a little bit of
it's
one.
a good one.
Okay,
yes,
so you're giving me a little bit of hope. Real quick, because we're out of time, I want to ask both Paul and Barry, what are you guys buying? Barry, you first.
I'd be buying BJ Wholesale, Boston Beer, and AmTrust Financial, all cheap, good earnings, little debt, and they don't have too much expectations, and they're buying back shares.
Paul, what do you like?
When the market bounces, listen, a rising tide's going to lift all ships. The place not to be is defensive. When the market turns, the defensive issues are going to lag severely. So things you want to look at, you want to look at semiconductors, look at biotech, even look at some beaten down energy and material stocks.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Diane, we're going to continue talking to you throughout the show. Melissa, over to you.
When we come back, GM looking for some roadside assistance to move forward with a Chrysler merger.
Yeah, new report saying the Treasury Department may step in. We'll be heading out to Detroit for those details. That's right after this quick break.
The company that's brought America stylishly affordable vehicles has now made it even easier. Now you can get $5,000 cash back on the Kia Sedona minivan and the Kia Sorento midsize SUV. Both come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and a 5-star crash safety rating. That's 2 incredible vehicles, 1 incredible deal. With $5,000 cash back, how can you afford not to?
Do we want to get right? 30 Rock's back, and it's big.
Tell me.
With guest stars like Megan Mullally and someone we like to call
Oprah.
Please stay close.
along with Jennifer Aniston and Steve Martin.
It is going to be epic.
30 Rock, the Emmy-winning best comedy, returns this Thursday on NBC.
Connecticut's economy is hurting. These are challenging economic times. We need someone in the state senate with real-world business experience.
I'm Martin A. Goldberg. I've devoted my entire career to helping businesses become as successful as possible. I know what it takes to make Connecticut's economy work again. I approve this message.
In Chris Shays, Connecticut is lucky to have one of the country's best congressmen of either party. Chris works on a bipartisan basis to do what's right, without regard to politics or who he may offend. He's one of the leading advocates in Congress for fiscal responsibility, and anybody that knows Chris Shays knows he's a man of integrity and the highest of ethical standards. I urge you to vote for Christopher Shays.
I'm Christopher Shays, and I approve this message.
The Dow Jones Industrial Index right now in positive territory. Look at that. It's up 52 points. Verizon, a big part of the reason, out with earnings earlier today. Right now, I'm looking at that stock is up better than 11% on the day. Ross.
Thanks, Melissa. Now, General Motors and Chrysler continuing their merger discussions over the weekend. Our very own Phil LeBeau has been following the talks. He joins us now from Detroit with the latest. Phil, is this a runner?
I think it's a little bit too soon to say that these guys are definitely going to be getting together. I think what we have are dual talks going on right now. Chrysler and General Motors talking, and then you also have General Motors and Chrysler talking with lawmakers in Washington about the possibility of some federal low-interest loans